Welcome back to the Doc's Diagnosis, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. I'm Travis Justice. He's Dr. Rob Zadiska. Hello, Doc.
How are you doing today?
Good. It was the mid-season is here. Nebraska reached its bye week, so we're changing up the diagnosis a little bit. Not looking at plays this week, but today we're going to look at coaches in college football who may be overperforming or really exceeding expectations, and also we'll talk about the guys who are underperforming. Let's start with the midseason top 5 coaches. And this first one I could not agree with more, Kalen DeBoer from Washington.
And he was a guy that I think a lot of people even looked at as a potential candidate for the Nebraska job. That he's kind of this guy, he's been on the rise the last few years, has Washington playing outstanding football right now. They're doing a great job, and the results speak for themselves up there.
You know, and what I like about him, he's an NAIA guy that's made his way all the way to the top. And you don't.
He was up in
Sioux Falls.
Yeah, he
Sioux
was a
Falls.
South Dakota guy there for a while and did a great job there.
You're wearing the Florida State sweatshirt, Mike Norvell with the Seminoles.
It is, and this is a guy that, I mean, when he was at Memphis, he was kind of like Scott Frost. He was sort of that flavor of the month guy, kind of looking. He was the guy that people were looking at to kind of jump up to that next level. Went to Florida State. First 2 or 3 years were a little sketchy. All of a sudden, year 4, year 5, he takes off, has them playing great, and has them as a potential playoff contender right now. They're playing amazing football. Great game yesterday against Syracuse. Great recruiter, dynamic offense, dynamic defense. It's going to be interesting to see how they do over the next couple of years. And he's a guy that I don't see going anywhere. Florida State's a destination job if you have them playing well.
Jim Harbaugh from Michigan. I mean, I'm telling you, Michigan,
I used to hate the guy.
But Michigan may be the most complete team in college football.
It really is. And I mean, and you and I have talked about this on the podcast before. That COVID season hit. He was a little on the hot. I shouldn't even say a little. I think he was kind of a lot on the hot seat. The shtick went away. He shut the hell up. He kind of faded into the background a lot. And all of a sudden, when that happened, Michigan started playing great football. I'm not a Michigan fan. Everybody knows about my allegiance to Michigan State. I like to watch the Wolverines play football because they play a great style. It's highly effective. It's a pro-style, run-based offense that works with really strong defense. They just don't make a lot of mistakes anywhere. He's done an amazing job the last 3 seasons there.
Dan Lanning at Oregon, he took 100% for the blame for the loss against Washington, but the dude's winning at Oregon and he's doing it.
They are, and that's not necessarily, everybody thinks, they look at a lot of these schools and think, oh man, if you were there, everything's set up to win. You can't say that. Oregon has a ton of money, a lot of infrastructure, good fan support. Recruiting's not necessarily the easiest just because, I mean, it's the same thing with Washington. It's the Northwest.
It's Oregon.
It's cold. It's rainy. But it's, you know what? He's done a great job there, and he has them playing like people think Oregon should be playing football. Tough loss against Washington over the weekend. But again, he's one of those coaches where when you look at those Pac-12 coaches coming to the Big Ten, people were happy about USC and UCLA because it was USC and UCLA. I'm excited about Washington and I'm excited about Oregon because of these coaches.
And I don't think Oregon's dropped out of the playoff picture yet, just with one loss. And here's one, Mike Elko from Duke. This is a great call right here because most people don't pay attention to Duke football. He's doing a hell of a job.
They're in the top 20. You've got a team, when you look at some of these conferences, I mean, during the late summer going into the season, and even maybe really early in the season, everybody was talking about the breakup of the Pac-12, how at some point here it's going to happen to the ACC. And I think all of a sudden people are now looking at the job some of these coaches are doing at some of these schools. You look at Mac Brown at North Carolina, you look at Elko at Duke. Some of these guys are doing an amazing job in a conference that's a solid conference. Is it the SEC? No. Is it the upper echelon of the Big Ten? No. But they're doing a great job in a conference that plays really solid football, and they're just winning consistently.
All right, so those are the top 5 midseason top 5 coaches. How about the midseason underperforming coaches or poor performing coaches? And this is no surprise, Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M.
I'm a little surprised he hasn't been fired yet.
Too much money.
Too much money, and I think every year they get a group of recruits in there that everybody keeps thinking, oh, well, it's going to turn around. And it just hasn't yet. You've got a coach who's done some great things as a coordinator and as a head coach. He's got a national title at Florida State. Now, he had an amazing amount of talent when he won that national title. I also think he had one of the better supporting casts of assistant coaches when he was at Florida State. It just has not carried over to Texas A&M.
Number 2, Mario Cristobal at Miami. Boy, they got beat again yesterday in North Carolina.
Yeah, and although, I mean, that was pretty legit because I think North Carolina is a very good team, a talented team, and a very well-coached team. I mean, I already mentioned Mac Brown and the job he's doing there. Miami is one of those schools that you always think is going to be another sleeping giant if they could just get the right guy in there. I kind of thought Mario would be it. You got a guy, he's a Miami grad, he knows the culture of the late 80s, early 90s Miami teams because that's when he played there. We just haven't seen that carry over yet. You want to see him bring that swagger back a bit, and they just don't have it. And the other thing that's killing them, there's some of these coaching decisions. I know the running the ball when all you needed to do was take a knee on it was huge. But you saw some of those questionable coaching decisions when he was at Oregon as well, too, that cost them some games. And so is this a guy that's maybe a better coordinator than he is a head coach? I think it still remains to be seen, and I think he could still turn some things around at Miami. I've got some questions about what he's been able to do in the time that he's been there based upon some of these glaring decisions.
Lincoln Riley at USC, boy, they got thumped at Notre Dame.
And I know it's one game.
It is.
The thing is, though, is when you look at what he's doing at USC, when you look at what he did at Oklahoma, he just hasn't been able to get a team past just to that next level to where it's truly, okay, we're going to win that playoff game. We're going to win that national title. And he's maybe had some of the best athletes to work with. And it's sort of one of these situations that I look at what he's doing with the caliber of athletes he has, and I think he really should have those guys punching past that next level. The losses to Utah, Notre Dame over the weekend, some of these losses kind of haunt USC a little bit, and I think he's maybe one of these guys that, maybe a better coordinator than head coach.
Now, it's Rob's list. That doesn't mean I agree with it, but number 4 on the list is Matt Campbell at Iowa State.
And we're going to probably talk about this one during the podcast.
I'm pushing back big time on this.
I see a guy who I think is still living off the hype of potential. And everybody looks and keeps waiting for Iowa State to take that next step, and they never do. A few years ago, he had arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL currently, one of the best running backs in the NFL currently, and he still couldn't get him past that next level. He'd always get that one or two, holy cow, they knocked off Texas or Oklahoma, big upset wins a year, and then they turn around and they nearly lose to Drake. So I mean, I'm just not sold on him as this guy who can progress Iowa State past the next level. Now, and I understand the whole, in terms of numbers, statistically, he's the best coach Iowa State has ever had.
I mean, since 2017, they have 33 Big 12 conference wins. That's second most in the conference. I mean, that's pretty good.
How many conference titles?
Zero. So I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, we're talking about Iowa State
in a pretty weak conference.
But we're talking Oklahoma, Texas. I mean, that's not so
Brees
weak.
Hall. Brock Purdy.
You're 100%. And their senior year is when they really should have taken it to the next level.
Should have,
and they didn't do it. You struggled with this one because he was also an honorable mention for your performing coaches.
He was. I had him as the honorable mention on the coaches on the rise. When you look at...
It's because he's holding on to his son.
I get it, and it's the off-the-field stuff. It's the offense. It's the opening things up just a little bit to the point that it actually helps you. When you've got Hawkinson and Noah Fant and you're not throwing the ball to either one.
You're going back a number of years now.
I get it, but it's that mentality hasn't changed. And they've continued to have great defense, great special teams, and they could have had some very, very good offensive productivity. And it's almost like they refuse to do it. On the flip side, he's still winning games. So I had him as my honorable mention on the coaches on the rise
He's
as
an
well,
enigma,
too.
right?
He is. It's one of those, I got him on this list, but I also got him on the rise list as well, too, because he's going to win 9 to 11 games this year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So if you have any agreements, disagreements, leave them in the comments section. Also, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel because we'd love to have you subscribe. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So for Dr. Rob Zadiska, I'm Travis Justice. Thanks for watching another Doc's Diagnosis presented by Centris Federal Credit Union.
Ready to embark on a new financial journey? Centris Federal Credit Union is here to help. Centris is your trusted financial partner, focused on what truly matters, giving back to our communities and ensuring their members' experience is top-notch. With 15 convenient locations, Centris' mobile and online banking, instant issue debit cards, and local expertise, your new financial path is closer than you think. Visit centrisfcu.org, stop by a Centris branch, or give them a call at 402-334-7000 to learn more about how they can help you achieve financial success. Centris Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA and equal housing lender. Your journey to financial freedom starts here. Centris Federal Credit Union, where you and your community come first.